Welcome to the Barry Charles Footy Show, your one-stop shop for everything rugby league. And yes, today is the day that the Bulldogs are going to get Jarome Luai. Yes, it's believed that the Penrith Panthers are only offering $800K a year for Jarome Luai to stay at the Panthers. There is no doubt that the Bulldogs are going to come with over $1 million, probably $1.2 million offer to sign him. Is he going to take unders to stay in Penrith, or will he take the money and run and join Crichton and Kikau, Matt Burton at the Bulldogs and turn them into a powerhouse? You heard it here again. I think the Bulldogs are going to get Jarome Luai. But it depends on happiness as well. If he's happy in Penrith, but it's a lot of money off the table, he can get about $500 million more a season at a different club. Not just the Bulldogs, there'll be other teams after him, but I believe he's close with Crichton. That it's going to be a done deal soon, that he will be at the Bulldogs in 2025. Yes, so Jarome Luai, that's where that's heading. We'll see more in that space later on, but let's get to the big talking point. The fire, the power, between Buzz Rothfield and James Graham last night on NRL 360. They absolutely locked horns. James Graham, you could see the fire coming through his veins. He was absolutely red as a whatever you want to call it, but absolutely giving it to Andrew Davey again last night. Absolutely saying it's that that he was absolutely not good enough, and that's why he got kicked out of the Bulldogs, and that's why he had sour grapes. He also said mental health shouldn't mean anything in terms of working hard. Well, I have to beg to differ a little bit on that, because some people work differently when it comes to the mental health space. So you have to look after people in different ways in terms of, and that's just in general anyway. And we all have different abilities, so the punishment was probably over a punishment for someone with that mental health state. You can still give them a punishment, but it didn't have to go to that degree of some people would say cruelty, insanity, and other people would say, well, that's part of the game. Well, you're in 2023, we're not in 1980s anymore. You've got to be careful of the players as well, so that's just something that James Graham might have to think about before he goes a bit fiery again. But it was exciting stuff. It was a good 12-minute piece, absolutely locking horns with Buzz Rothfield. It was good to see some entertainment on the TV instead of just the boring same old stuff. So it's good. That was great to see. Well, obviously finals is coming this weekend. Who is going to be in for your team? Is there going to be some changes all around? These possible changes can happen in any team here. But the Broncos, obviously Adam Reynolds, Pat Carrington expected to be back on deck. We'll find out later today. Corey Oates is expected to be dropped or for Jesse Arthurs and Salon Cobbo to keep these spots. Reece Walsh is obviously back. Payne Haas. The whole trio is going to be back. Same with the Storm. Now, the Storm have the dilemma. Storm have the biggest dilemma. Well, not the biggest dilemma. There's a few others. But Pappenhausen or Nick Meaney at fullback. And does Pappenhausen go onto the bench if he's not picked there? As I've said all along, I think he should go to fullback. I don't, from all reports, this is not going to happen. It's more likely Nick Meaney's going to get the fullback and Pappenhausen on the bench. I don't necessarily agree with that. You need to have your best X-Factor players playing. But whether he's fully fit enough, that's probably another question, and maybe that's why he is going to be benched, because he can only play 20-30 minutes anyway at this level, at this time of the season, coming back from the injury. So it might be a good ploy from... But what about Justin Olam? Does he get a call back? He was solid. Probably didn't put the house down and say, yes, pick me, so there's probably going to be a no. But just going to be interesting watch the space with Justin Olam. Is he going to be sticking to the Storm? Because he seems like a loyal type of character, but he's too good a player to be playing reserve grade. So it's going to be interesting watch his space moment if they, for his best benefit, tell him that it's time to go, or Craig Bellamy's just going to keep him for himself, because just in case he has injuries, we'll bring him back into the team, but he has no thought of playing him next season. That's probably my concern for Justin Olam, because he's too good a player to be playing reserve grade. Yes, looking at Saturday's afternoon game, the Penrith Panthers. Well, Penrith Panthers, they got themselves a few things. Is Mitch Kenny going to be back? Scott Sorensen. There have been a few injury clouds there. Are they coming back into the team? Jamin Salmon, since he's pretty much signed somewhere else, they have kicked him out the door. I just don't get it. They won the last 2 premierships with him at 14, and now he's just been cast aside. Do you think that could cost them the premiership, not having his utility on the bench? And they've got other people, but he's got a lot more utility, can play a lot of different positions. So he's been cast aside the last month or so, or even longer, since he's decided to go to the Bulldogs. So that's an interesting player that has been left out. They probably could be in this team at 14, but we will see, obviously, because Jack Cogger is option at 14 as well, and it looks like he is the 14 if he is and obviously there's leaving Sonny Luke out of the team as well. He's been pretty much demoted to the third best hooker in this team now, so he's missing out as well. So that's the Penrith Panthers. The Warriors, obviously Sean Johnson back, Chance, Nickel Clockstead, Adam Whanua, Blake, Tohu Harris hopefully is back. He should be back from all reports. He'll play injured. Nia Corey, it's a very good looking side, this team. Now, Timothy Martin's the big cog on this team. He's the biggest question mark for me. Whether he can defend well, whether he's fit enough, all that sort of stuff. There's a question mark. Maybe you should be putting Volkman at 6. Someone that's been playing all season, that is the big question mark. But they're obviously going to go with Timothy Martin from all reports. But if they lose, do they make the change then? It's a big question. But Timothy Martin, in terms of experience, is more experienced than any of the other players at even finals level. So I understand why you'd pick Timothy Martin, but he's got, with their leg injury, is he fit enough for the NRL finals? That's probably the only question mark I have on the Warriors team, and obviously whether they can hold the ball and the others. Well, let's get to the Sharks. Roosters, well, the Sharks, and might be in a dilemma. They probably name Connor Tracy, but whether he plays or not, I'm not 100% sure. Do they put Nico Hines the fullback? That seems the logic answer. If he's obviously him and Will Kennedy are still out, I'd put him in. They put Braden Trindle and Matt Moylan in the halves. I mean, it just makes sense to do that. He hasn't played there for a while, but Nico Hines, it doesn't matter which number you put on him, he will play a good game. So I think that's the way to go. If Connor Tracy's out, looking at the Sydney Roosters, obviously James Tedesco is back in. Is he going to make them stronger? Well, obviously, I mean, he was great last week. I'm talking about Joey Manu, sorry. Joey Manu is back. James Tedesco played very, very good last week. He was one of their best last week with Sualihi. They're hitting form at the right time and really looking good. Yeah, the Roosters looking solid. It's going to be a big game, that one. And the Sunday game, in terms of players to maybe return to the squads, Newcastle Knights, obviously Kalen Ponga, Jackson Hastings. We'll see if Jackson Hastings actually returns. He's been quite injured for a while, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Tyson Frizzell had a break, so it's going to be good times ahead for you, Knights fans. And the Raiders are going to need a miracle. Croker, does he come back in? I believe so. Jack Whiten, does he go back to 6? I believe so, but I don't know if they'll do this. But this is what they should be doing. I think if they've got any chance of beating the Knights, maybe that was their plan all along, just to confuse everyone, and we'll put in our best players in the big games. It'd be good to see Jared Croker get one more game to finish. Well, he couldn't make it more than one game, but they're going to have to pull up a big effort against the Newcastle Knights. But anyway, that is the Barry Charles Footy Show. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with another video to talk about the teams tomorrow and more news on the NRL.